Hi guys, Jack Palmer here. This is a 2014 Toyota Highlander that I have done a complete exterior detail job on. This includes rust prevention, paint touch-up, replacement of clear coat, compound and polish, installation of 3M protection film, as well as ceramic coating. I know guys, this is a very long video, but I will be breaking up this video in categories and I will provide a link in the description below. But this video will take you through the entire process. If you find this video helpful, please give a like and remember to subscribe to my channel. For some reason, Toyota Highlanders tend to have a lot of rock chips. As you can see here, there are so many paint chips, and a paint touch-up is not recommended for a damage like this. With this many chips, a repainting of the base coat and the clear coat is highly recommended. But I will be repairing these chips with the touch-up method. I will also apply clear coat for one reason. This car was in a minor accident and they applied clear coat without scuffing up the existing paint, and this resulted in the new clear coat not bonding with the old clear coat. So I will attempt to sand the peeling clear coat. I will try and get as much as possible without burning through the base color. Then I will scuff the entire bumper and apply a new layer of clear coat. There are also some rock chips on the hood that I will touch up. There's also a damage to the side right here. It seems like it was from the previous accident. I will repair that as well. And there are also some chips above the front windscreen. I will touch up those as well. So before I start the touch-up process, I'm going to just give the car a basic wash, and I'm going to use this wax grease remover to help remove deep contaminants. And this is a touch-up paint, so now I'm just giving it a quick basic wash. I recommend to have the paint shop try to do a close match instead of just using the color code to mix your paint. This will give a better finish at the end, because over time your paint color will fade. So it's better to have them match your paint instead of just mixing your paint based on the color code. Now a closer examination shows how many rock chips are on this car, and as you can see, there are so many that a complete paint job is highly recommended. Now I'm using 92% alcohol to clean up all the rock chips. Now I'm gonna give the paint a good shake for about 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna dip some of the paint in a bottle cover and use this very fine point makeup brush to do the touch-up. You can find these brushes very cheap at any beauty store. So the goal here is to touch up each chip with one touch of the brush. Therefore, you should examine your brush to see if it has enough paint to do the touch-up. So I will take my time and do all these touch-up. I also touch up these rock chips on the hood, and because of the size of these chips, it takes more than one touch of the brush to fill the chips, and this is after all the touch-up of the paint. When doing the touch-up, I deliberately touch up the paint higher than the existing paint because I intend to sand down the touch-up paint to the level of the existing paint. But if you're not doing this, I recommend to touch up the paint to the level of the existing paint. Now I'm going to repair this damage to the side of the car. I bought the car this way, and I think it resulted from the accident that I saw on the Carfax report. And I'll be using masking tape to keep the repair area as small as possible. I will start the sanding with this foam sandpaper. It's about 180 grit, and it wasn't enough to completely sand the area, so I went for this 80 grit sandpaper, and it did the job very well. The paint was stripped from the metal of the car, and if it's not repainted, this can cause serious rust damage in the near future. I'll be using some body filler to remove some of the dent. That's way too much hardener, but I wanted it to dry very quickly. Ensure that you thoroughly mix the body filler with the hardener. I applied more than needed, but I'm going to use some elbow grease to sand all that down. So I kept sanding to level the body filler to have a flat surface. I always use masking tape to keep the repair area as small as possible. The smaller the repair area, the less work needs to be done. Throughout the entire process, I have been using a grease and tar remover. Now I'm taping off the area to apply 3 coats of primer. I use some good old newspaper to help mask off the area. I have some overspray, but I will clean that up at the end. So now I'm using 600 grit sandpaper just to level the body filler. And now I am using a makeup brush to paint the color. I'm using the makeup brush because this damage is in an area that is not very visible. If you have this damage in a very visible area, I recommend getting your paint in an air can. That will leave a smooth finish. At the end, I will use sandpaper to level the repair area, then polish and buff, and you won't even notice that I use a paintbrush to do this repair. You will see at the end. So this is a very cheap, easy and fast way to repair a damage like this, but it is not the ideal way to get a smooth, perfect finish. Now I will move to the chips on the top of the car. It's the same process. Get the area as clean as possible, and I notice some minor rust in these rock chips, so I'm going to use this sandpaper and try to clean the area first before I start touching up with paint. Then I clean the area again, and whenever metal is exposed, you need to touch up the area with primer first, then apply the base color. I have the primer in a hair can, so I'm just gonna spray the primer in a bottle cover. If I attempt to apply the primer from the air can, this might be very messy for this small repair area. And guys, you need to understand that touching up your paint will never give a very smooth finish. It's just to make the existing damage looks better. So now I'm using a touch-up brush to apply the primer. After it's completely dried, then I touch up with the touch-up paint. And that's it, guys. Touching up the car is very simple, it's very easy, but it won't restore your paint to a perfect finish. You just gotta accept it as what it is. It's just a touch-up. So now it's time to apply clear coat. But before I do so, I'm going to wash the car, and I'm going to use sandpaper to level all those hundreds of touch-up that I've made on this bumper. So after washing the car, I'm going to tape areas that I do not want the sandpaper to damage. I will remove the bumper from the car, but it's easier to sand the bumper while it's still on the car. So I'm starting off here with a 3M scuffing pad. They're available on Amazon. I will put a link in the description below. These pads are what you will use to scuff up the paint before you apply clear coat. This enables the clear coat to bond to the base coat. This is very important, guys. I also will be doing wet sanding. This helps with the finish of the paint. The scuffing pad wasn't removing much of the clear coat, so I'm going to use this 1500 grit sandpaper with this sanding block, and I'm going to wet sand the entire bumper. So I'll be using a combination of both the scuffing pad as well as the 1500 grit sandpaper with the sanding block. I just take my time and sand the entire area. So now I have finished sanding the entire bumper. I could attempt to mask off the entire area of the car and apply the clear coat with the bumper on the car, but you do a better job while the bumper is not on the car. It's a lot of work, but it gives a better result. So first, I'm going to use a clip removal tool to remove all these clips, to remove this cover here. Some of these clips might be difficult to remove, but take your time. I'm going to remove these clips from the front here. There are also 3 more clips to the front here, 1 in the center and 2 on the sides. So after removing those clips at the top, I will be removing 7 screws underneath the car that holds the bumper to a protective weather strip. So now it's time to remove 1 bolt from there, another bolt there and a clip, as well as another bolt right there. But this car doesn't have any of these bolts. It seems like from the last repair, the workman didn't replace those bolts, so I will need to find some 10mm bolts as well as a bumper clip when reinstalling this bumper. However, on the other side, there is one of the 3 10mm bolts as well as a clip still here, so I will be removing these. Next, I'll be removing this piece from the bumper. It is held by clips. You just need to be gentle with this, not to break anything. Just take your time and try to release those clips from the bumper. If you're having difficulty, you can use the clip removal tool to assist in getting those clips out. So now you need to just pull the bumper forward and it pops right off. And now all is left to do to completely remove the bumper from the car is to remove the 2 wire harness for the fog lights. Now I need to remove these grills from the bumper. So these grills are held to the bumper by 2 screws and some clips. So I first remove these 2 screws here and then use the plastic removal tool to release these clips and it will pop right out. As you can see, the top piece came off without me doing anything to it. Now I won't be able to remove the bottom grille because it was glued on to the bumper by the previous repair person, so I won't be able to remove the bottom piece from the bumper. Now I'm going to remove these fog lights. And now I'm going to mask off the bottom piece of the bumper because I wasn't able to remove it. So before I start the paint job, I'm just going to completely wash the bumper again. Dry the entire area. Use rubbing alcohol with distilled water to clean the area. And I'm going to use a scuff pad again just to scuff the entire bumper to ensure I didn't miss any area. If you miss areas, the clear coat might have problem bonding to the base coat. So it is very important to ensure that the area is completely scuffed up. Now I'm going to finish taping off the bottom piece of the bumper. Now this is a 2K clear coat, which is recommended for a job like this. This is the closest you'll be able to get to a spray gun, which is the ideal way of painting your car. To activate the clear coat, you will need to use this tool provided on the top to place on the bottom and just put to the ground and push as hard as you can to release a mixture inside the bottle. That will activate the clear coat. Now I'm going to do a final wipe down of the bumper with a tack rag. Remove all particles or anything that might be on the bumper before I start the painting job. And you notice that I'm wearing a mask. This clear coat is very toxic and you should not breathe this in. Now I am applying the clear coat. I'll be using 2 cans for this entire bumper. The key when painting clear coat is that you need to start moving the can before you squeeze. This helps to avoid runs. You need to keep the can at least 8 inches away from the bumper, and in most cases here it's more than 8 inches. It's like trying to vape. So because I held the can so far away from the bumper, I needed to give it 4 coats to get a good result. So I left the bumper to dry for like 3 hours, and this is the end result, guys. As you can see, it's a pretty good job for what I did. And if you look closely, you might be able to see a few of the touch-ups, but I'm very pleased with this result. A normal person won't be able to see those touch-ups. I have to look very closely to find them, so I am pleased with the result. So all I'm going to do now is to reinstall the grills. Try to be careful with the paint because it's fresh paint, easy to scratch. Now I'm going to reassemble the fog lights and reinstall in the car. So the fog light is held by 1 bolt and some clips. The bolt is to the bottom right there, and the clips are to the side. And now it's time to reinstall on the car. So first you place the bumper on the car, and you can use 1 clip just to hold it together, and then you can start at the sides. So I'm using a heat gun to make adjustments to the clip so that it holds better. And after you reinstall the side piecing, you install 1 bolt right there, another bolt right there, as well as a clip and another bolt right there, and then you are done with the side. Then you will need to install the 3 clips at the top right there, and remember the 3 clips right in the center before you put on this plastic trim. It is nice to have excess clip, and you can purchase a kit like this on Amazon. I will put a link in the description below. So all I'm doing right now is just to reinstall all the clips that I removed when removing the bumper from the car. And this is the easy part, guys. All the hard work has already been done. And finally is just to reinstall the 7 screws to the bottom of the bumper that holds the bumper to a plastic weather strip on the bottom. And this is the finished result, guys. I'm pretty pleased with this job. To get this result, not having to repaint the base coat, is pretty amazing. Today is 7 days after I painted the bumper with a 2K clear coat. This car was washed yesterday, so I'm here just using a grease and wax remover. So now I will be wet sanding the bumper to remove some orange peel. I will be starting with 1500 grit sandpaper, then I move up to 2000 and then finish with 3000. To avoid burning through the clear coat, I will be using this soft sponge. So while I'm sanding, I'll be using a little soapy water for lubrication. Try to be careful at the edges because those are the places that can burn out very easily. And this is the finished result after I completely wet sand the bumper. Now the bumper is ready for polish and compound. So these are all the products that I'll be using. This is a Maxshine M15 Pro dual action polisher. It's a 5-inch. So this is the Maguire lubricant, and that is used for the clay bar. This is the Giant Quartz Prep. It is a very good alcohol-based wipe to remove all grease from the car. This is the Skull Concept S20 Black, which is a compound that gives a good finish, but you will need a very aggressive pad to get good result from this compound, which I didn't have, so I had to get the Maguire compound. This is the Maguire polish, which is a very good polish. This is an iron remover, which will help to chemically remove deep contaminants in the paint before I clay bar. This is the Rain-X windscreen coating, and this is used for the windscreens and all the glass. This is CarPro C-Quartz UK. This is a ceramic coating, and this is Maguire clay bar. So these are all the products I'll be using to detail the exterior of this car. So today I will only be detailing the front of the car to install the 3M protection film. This is a big job that can take many days, so I will only be doing the front of the car today. So after washing the car, I sprayed it down with the iron remover, left it for 5 minutes, then rinse. And that's the way to chemically remove contaminants in the paint. Now I will be mechanically removing contaminants in the paint by using the clay bar with a clay bar lubricant. While the paint is wet, you simply apply the clay bar lubricant and use the clay bar to rub on the paint. While rubbing, you will notice that it will start out rough, then become smooth, and that's when you know when the area is completely clayed. After I finish with the clay bar process, I will use this alcohol-based cleaner to clean the entire area. Now, it is important to use masking tape to mask off all creases before you start compounding process, because the compound can be very messy and it likes to stick in small spaces. It is time for polishing, and I will be using the Skull Concept S20 Black along with the blue Max Shine foam pad. For the first section, I will be using 5 pea-sized drops to get the foam pad lubricated, and for the other sections, I will be using only 3 pea-sized drops. To avoid the compound from splashing all over the place, I normally spread the compound over the work area. To prevent missing spots, work the polisher in a lateral and vertical pattern, making about 3 to 4 passes. And 1 set of vertical makes 1 pass, while 1 set of lateral would make the second pass. Then use a microfiber rag to remove the excess compound and inspect the finish of the paint. So this combination of the Skull Concept S20 Black and the Max Shine blue pad did not make much correction to the paint. So I decided to make a second set of passes, working in a smaller area while moving the polisher more slowly to increase the cut. And after the second set of passes, I did not see much change in the result. So I went and got this consumer level Maguire compound, which made a world of difference. The Maguire compound removed all defects in the paint while leaving the paint glossy, which reduced the amount of polishing I will need at the end. And the weird thing was, the Maguire compound cost 3 times less than the Skull Concept S20 Black. The Skull Concept S20 Black was designed to be a all-in-one compound, to both compound and polish at the same time. That is not the ideal approach to get the best result. To achieve the best result is to compound your paint first and then polish. So the Maguire Ultimate Compound and the Maguire Ultimate Polish are great consumer level products that can be used on various paint types. They are very forgiving and they give great results. I highly recommend these 2 products, and I can tell you the results way exceed the price. want to move slowly and work in a horizontal and lateral pattern to not miss any area. Then you use a microfiber towel to clean the area. You do your inspection, and if you're pleased with the result, you can move to the next section. So after one pass, I was very pleased with the result. You do not want to compound too much because it's possible for you to burn through your clear coat. That is something that you do not want to happen. Now I'm going to move to the other section of the car. So what I did, I just worked my way around the bumper, and I'm really loving the result that I'm getting right here. Also polished and compound the headlights, and I use this grinder with a 3-inch pad to work in these small areas. So after I have completely compounded the hood, the side panels and the bumper of this car, it's time to polish. So now I'm using a polishing pad. They are usually softer, and I'll be using this Maguire polish. Polishing is similar to compounding, but the objective is different. When compounding, you're trying to remove defects, while when polishing, you're just trying to improve the finish, which is the gloss and some, minor swirls or defects. So when polishing, your hand movement should be faster than when you're compounding. So I'll be giving the front of the car a complete wash before I install the 3M protection film. Right now I'm using dishwashing soap to help remove all the grease. So after the wash, I'll use this alcohol-based wipe again to remove all grease and contaminants that might be left on the paint. And now this is the 3M paint protection film that I purchased on eBay. It is very expensive, guys. I will put a link in the description below. It came with this water squeegee as well as the instruction manual, which I did not follow. I hope you do not make the mistake that I made. My mistake was that I used too much liquid soap in my solution. I used about 15 times the amount that I should have used, and because of that I ran into many problems installing the protection film. The mixture should be 24-ounce distilled water with 2 milliliters of Johnson baby soap. That's for the slip solution. And the other solution, you need 24 ounces of distilled water with 8 ounces of 70% isopropyl alcohol. So these are the spray solutions that you will need. The soap-based solution is to help with slippage, while the alcohol-based solution is to help with bonding the protection film with the paint. Having a partner to help you remove the backing from the film will make this job way easier. You only need to ensure that you spray down the film with the alcohol-based solution while removing the plastic backing from the film. Once you align all the edges of the film to the hood, you can start using the squeegee to squeeze the water from beneath the film. It is recommended to align the film and then start from the center. So I'm just using the squeegee to squeeze all the water out, as well as this microfiber towel. The most difficult parts of this job are the edges. So right now I'm using the alcohol-based solution to remove the slip solution to help the protection film to bond to the paint. So now, time for the bumper. So while removing the film, you need to use the slip solution to spray on the film to prevent it from sticking to itself. And having help here would make it easier. So what I did, I placed the film on the bumper, used the slip solution to spray on both the outside as well as the inside of the protection film. After you set the protection film to the bumper, you do not need the slip solution anymore. The only solution you need right now is the alcohol-based solution. So you just need to line up your bumper, starting at one end, and just work your way right around the bumper. So while working your way, you want to stretch the film a little while working. But as you can see, I'm having difficulty right there to have the protection film to stick to the paint. And this is only because my slip solution had way too much soap. So I had to be using the alcohol-based solution to try and wash away as much of the soap as possible. So that was my biggest struggle installing this protection film. But guys, I know you won't make the same mistake I did. I'm here for you. So while installing the protection film, you need to stretch if needed. If you notice that a part of the protection film is too short, you can remove it and reinstall, but you gotta be gentle here. Installing the protection film will take time, but with enough patience, you can get it done. You might find that there are portions of the protection film that did not fit well, like that part right there. I'm going to cut that piece to make it fit. It won't have a smooth finish, but that's the only way to fix that area. So the kit also came with protection film for the headlight, same procedure. You place the protection film, make the alignment, then use a squeegee to squeeze the water out. Installing these small pieces, you only need the alcohol-based solution. You do not need the slip solution for these small pieces. The slip solution should only be used on the bumper because of the complexity. But these small pieces, you only need the alcohol-based solution. So you need to focus on the edges because those are the areas that tend to give a little problem. So I now move to the second headlight. Same procedure using the alcohol-based solution. Align the protection film and then use the squeegee to squeeze all the water out. It also came with a piece for the mirrors. Same procedure using the alcohol-based solution and apply the protection film. I'll be installing these on both mirrors. It also came with strips of film for the front grille. These are the easiest to install. So there are 3 more pieces to install. This piece right here that goes to this section of the bumper. This round piece here for the fog light. And this rectangular piece right here for this removable piece of the bumper that you can be towed from. And after completing your installation, you need to do a full inspection. You will find that there might be some defects. You will most likely find some water bubbles, but you can fix those. To fix these water bubbles, you just need a small pin and you just need to make a hole in the bubble and try to squeeze all the water out. It might not look so good initially, but over time after it's completely dried, you won't see any mark. And I'm using a heat gun right here to shrink the protection film. It doesn't look so good right now, guys, but in a couple weeks, you will not notice that there was a bubble right there. So you'll just need to inspect the entire car and remove similar bubbles. For this area that I mentioned earlier that need to be cut, I'm using a razor and just to have the cut as close as possible together. And you can see, guys, the improvement. It's not perfect, but it's way better than it was. So I use the heat gun just to shrink it a little, and that's it. Now it's time to compound and polish the rest of the car. So at this point, the car is fully decontaminated. The car was washed. Iron remover was used to remove contaminants. Clay bar was used to also remove contaminants. And the car was totally wiped down with a alcohol-based wipe. So I'll be working in cubes, making lateral and vertical passes. Then using the microfiber towel to clean the area. After cleaning the area, you do your inspection. If you're pleased with the result, you can move to the next section. And if you think it needs some more passes, you just repeat the process. I will also be compounding the windscreen. You can also compound all your lights. It makes them very shiny. Don't forget your roof. Compounding a car is very time consuming, but you just gotta be patient. This dual action polisher is very balanced. As you can see right here, I'm using one hand to reach on the top of the car at high speed, and the polisher is very steady. I recommend this polisher. I'm gonna put a link in the description below. So now it's time for polishing. Similar procedure, but using a polishing pad with a faster hand movement. As you can see the result, guys, you can see how shiny the car is. At this moment, I'm actually polishing the 3M protection film because I am going to ceramic coat the 3M protection film to improve the finish. So now I'm removing all the tapes. And there are some small areas that the polisher won't be able to reach. You can use a microfiber towel with the compound to polish those small areas. It will take time, but it will improve the result. So after finishing the compounding and polishing process, I gave the car a wash to remove compounds and polish that might still be in small areas. You need to have a very clean paint before you ceramic coat your car. So now it's time for ceramic coating. I'll be using this alcohol-based wipe to completely wipe all grease from the paint. And this is the ceramic coat that I purchased on Amazon. That's the CarPro preload that is used like 7 days after the coat has dried. This is the ceramic coating. That's the foam applicator. These are some microfiber cloth for the application of the coating, and this microfiber towel is for the application of the reload. So now I'm using the alcohol-based wipe just to give the car a final wipe before applying the ceramic coating. The This is a ceramic coating. I just apply in one straight line, and then I take my time to apply the ceramic coating in overlapping passes, both horizontal and vertical, so that you do not miss a spot. So your flash time will be determined by your weather condition. The warmer the weather, the shorter the flash time. You are not trying to remove the ceramic coating. You're using a microfiber towel just to level the ceramic coating. The colder the environment, the longer the flash time. If the temperature is cooler, you can apply the ceramic coating to 2 sections, and by the time you finish with the second section, it's time to level the first section. If you feel the microfiber towel sticking to the car while leveling the ceramic coat, it means that you took too long. But if you notice that the ceramic coating is still wet while trying to level the ceramic coating, that means that you need a longer flash time. So your environment will highly determine your flash time. So right now I'm doing 2 sections. So by the time I'm finished with the second section, the first section needs to be leveled, and by the time I finish leveling the first section, the second section needs to be leveled. And that's it, guys. You just do this for the entire car, including the lights and plastic trim, and you use your microfiber towel to level the ceramic coating. I will be applying 2 coats of the ceramic coating. The second coat will be applied 60 to 90 minutes after the first coat. So it takes time to ceramic coat the entire car. So you need to make note of the time when you started, and you go in a direction like from left to right or right to left. At the end of the first coat, check the time to see if it's 60 to 90 minutes from you started, and then you can immediately start recoating those sections again. If you need more time to wait, you just can sit, have a drink, and wait for that 60 to 90 minutes. And this is the end result after applying 2 coats of C-Quart ceramic coating. I'm really pleased with the result. One key thing to note, you should avoid water touching the ceramic coating at least 24 hours after you apply the ceramic coat. And this is 7 days later, and you can see how easily the water beads off the ceramic coat. So I gave the car a first wash, and this is time to apply the reload. That's the end, guys. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give a like and remember to subscribe for similar videos. See you on the next one, guys.